Let's check in. Let's also continue our conversation right now with Representative Pat Fallon. Congressman, your thoughts about what's going on at the border and whether you think there's going to be a big change at midnight.
Bob, how are you? And thanks for having me on. Unfortunately, I think we are going to see a huge change. Bob, this was a crisis that became a catastrophe, and now we're bordering on absolutely cataclysmic because there's no more mechanisms there's no will on the Biden administration to enforce the laws that are already on the books. And then there were some tools that President Trump had to mitigate this crisis. For instance, the wait in Mexico policy, where you would wait in Mexico while your asylum claim was adjudicated. Title 42, which of course is going away at midnight. They refused to complete the border wall that was bought and paid for with laborers right there to do the work and the contractors, and they won't deport anyone. So we are going to have a cataclysmic situation on our hands, and the blame lies at the feet of Joe Biden.
Congressman, the Biden administration also says, listen, we're going to have this under control. They sent 1,500 troops to the border, touting it as if, or making Americans believe that that was somehow going to enforce the border. But they're actually down there to do paperwork and to help out in warehouses. It seems like another bait and switch trick of this administration for Americans.
Katrina, you're absolutely right, because under President Trump, we had detain and deport, and under Joe Biden, we have catch and release. And this is just all a shell game to them. They don't have the will. They're catering to their far left base, and they're not enforcing the laws that are on the books. So what they're ultimately doing is endangering all Americans, because we don't even know who these people are. There have been 7 million illegal border crossings in the last 2.5 years. We've had 160 countries being represented by folks that have crossed the border illegally. Tens of thousands of Chinese nationals, tens of thousands of Russian nationals, to name a few. And we have had record fentanyl deaths, 80,000 deaths last year due to fentanyl, most of it made in China and then ferried through Mexico. So the American people deserve and need, and we need to demand, a secure border.
But you're in Congress, of course, and Secretary Mayorkas blames Congress for the broken border system. Here's what he had to say.
Our current situation is the outcome of Congress leaving a broken, outdated immigration system in place for over 2 decades, despite unanimous agreement that we desperately need legislative reform. It is also the result of Congress's decision not to provide us with the resources we need and that we requested. Okay,
so you're not writing the right bills and you're not providing the right money. Your response?
Bob, Alejandro Mayorkas is a disaster. He's a lying sack of beans, and he's a disgrace. The Democrats had both chambers of Congress and the White House for 2 years, and they did absolutely nothing except take a trickle of illegal immigration and make it a flood. For Mayorkas to blame Congress is an absolute abject joke. We never had in our history 200,000 illegal border crossings in a given month. It had never happened before. It had happened 10 months in a row under this administration. And furthermore, it's really more like 14 months in a row, because now they're just cooking the books and they're paroling so many people, they're not counting them as illegal entries. So it's Alejandro Mayorkas and his master Joe Biden that have created and manufactured this cataclysmic catastrophe.
Yeah. All right, Congressman Pat Fallon, thank you.
Thank you. God bless.